Hi, today we're going to be looking at some wet on wet watercolor painting. Wet on wet painting is when you have water painted onto the page. It can be either very clean water or a little pigment with the water. And then you're going to add some wet pigment, just dabbing it onto the water. And what that does is it really follows the track that you already laid with the water. This is useful when doing kind of specific areas. If you just want the water to bleed in certain areas, you can use this. Watercolor can kind of be intimidating because there's not a lot of options for creating whites. You're going to use the paper mostly when you're doing any kind of white, and so I think sometimes people get intimidated by that fact. This is a good way to kind of mask out the area with water first, and then you can put your pigment over top, and it's not going to necessarily bleed over past where you have the water laid. Another way is just to fill up a shape or an object full of water, and what you're going to do is you're going to go back to your pigment, and you're going to put a little bit, just kind of dab it in there. What that's going to do is really make it bleed out. And it creates some really cool effects, almost like a marbling in the water. You can see how this is one of the only types of paint that actually kind of bleeds like this. Splattering also is a technique when applying paint. You can either do it just by kind of rubbing your brush with your fingertip. Make sure you have some water and pigment on there. And you can kind of create some interesting effects. Also just by taking water or alcohol, actually. Rubbing alcohol works well. If you just dab it on the watercolor itself, it'll kind of pool out in that area. Anywhere where you add on with water is going to bleed as well, so make sure that the area that you're working on is dry before you actually go up to that color with another color. Make sure you have your color choices planned out before you just start dabbing, because a lot of times you'll start adding colors and they'll become kind of muddy and brown and gray. And you don't want this, you want the real bright, vivid colors. You'll also notice that it blends very easily like this. It gives soft edges to any kind of drip you do. And by tilting your paper, it'll actually create drips going down the page. This has been a demonstration by Kyle Kavarna. Thank you for watching.